Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We just passed 660 subs. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope I can continue to make great content you guys will enjoy in the future. Now, there's been a lot of news happening in the transfer portal and the NBA draft, but there is one player that a lot of people are wondering, is he going to stay in the NBA draft or come back to college? And that is none other than Zach Edey, the Purdue center that won National Player of the Year by most outlets. He was a fantastic player this past season. Overall, he was definitely worthy of National Player of the Year because he averaged 22.3 points per game, 12.9 rebounds, and 1.5 assists on a Purdue basketball team that was a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They won the Big Ten by 3 games, and they had a fantastic season overall. And Zach Edey, year over year, improved in so many areas of his game. He shot 60.7% from the field, and he shot over 70% from the free throw line. And Zach Edey is a 7'4", almost 300-pound player, and to shoot that well from the free throw line and be able to have the durability that he had. He played around 30 minutes a game for Purdue this past season. A lot of centers are not able to play that many minutes a game. I think Zach Edey improved in so many areas overall, and he had a fantastic season for Purdue, even though Purdue did end up losing to Fairleigh Dickinson in the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament. Purdue's style of play with Zach Edey has caused him some issues in the NCAA tournament the past few years, losing to North Texas, St. Peter's, and now Fairleigh Dickinson in the NCAA tournament. But if Purdue's going to be a really good basketball team next year, they still need Zach Edey, even though Purdue is going against the grain, not having the style of play that a lot of teams do in college basketball today, where it's more guard-oriented and wing-oriented. Zach Edey's still an elite basketball player for the center position at his size of 7'4". And you would say, if Zach Edey's this good, why is he not going to be easily a first-round draft pick in the NBA? Well, problem number one is that the NBA covets freshmen more than they do older players today. Zach Edey has been in college for a few seasons now, and he has the potential to return because he has another year of eligibility left, so he will be able to come back for Purdue if he chooses to. And Matt Painter even envies Zach Edey's decision, being able to decide whether he wants to go to the NBA draft or be able to return to Purdue. There's a lot of money on the table for Zach Edey either way. NIL would be really good for him at Purdue if he returns, because NIL is doing great in college basketball right now. He's a big name in the sport, one of the biggest names in college basketball, specifically since he just won National Player of the Year. But if you go to the NBA, he has the potential to get a contract and make a lot of money there as well. But why is he not a player that the NBA really wants as well, just besides the fact that he's an older player? You would think, being the behemoth player that he is at 7'4", that the NBA would be knocking down his door to really want him to be in the league. The problem is the NBA now has players like Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and all these other bigs that are really fast, that are able to shoot threes and do a lot of other things, pass the ball as well. And the bad issue for Zach Edey is that he just does not fit the modern NBA. He's a really slow player overall. He has improved his footwork tremendously, and they've shown how much he has improved his footwork when they show practice film of Zach Edey. He's done a great job working day in and day out to be able to improve at being able to move quicker and be able to improve on his jump hook shot that he is perfected and done a great job of improving at over his course of his time at Purdue. But the issue for Zach Edey is he has no mid-range or three-point shot. The fact that he does shoot 70% at the free throw line is a good sign, and the fact that he can potentially shoot, but he doesn't do it in the game. And overall, he's really slow and cannot get back down the floor quick enough to be able to defend at a high level in the NBA when teams are running up and down the floor at such a fast pace. You look at a player like Taco Fall. When Taco Fall went to the NBA, he had a hard time being able, even in the summer league, to get back on the defensive end. A lot of times the other team already scored before he got down the floor, and then he's having to run back on the other end on the offensive side of the ball to try to get the ball, and he was having a hard time being able to score as well with all the fast players around. He did have some success on the offensive end, but on defense it was abysmal because he just could not get down the floor. It's not a knock on Taco Fall. It's just a byproduct in the way the NBA is played today. The NBA is such a fast league. You have to have speed to be able to go down the floor and be able to defend at a high level and be able to get down to the basket and do your thing and be able to block shots, and your presence be able to hurt the other team on the offensive end. But I do think Zach Edey is definitely not quick enough to be able to get back on the defense and be able to slow down the other team. I think 25 years ago, Zach Edey would have been a top 15 draft pick for sure, because he's definitely like Yao Ming. He's a great player. He's durable as well, which is great in the fact that he's this tall and he has the durability, because a lot of players that are really tall, specifically if they're skinny, have knee issues and they're not able to last long. I think Zach Edey showed that he could handle a big load at Purdue this past season. He has great knees. He's able to be on the floor for a long period of time. He hasn't had injury issues. So I think Zach Edey has the potential to be a backup center in the NBA if a team wants to use him in spot minutes. But will he ever be a starter at the NBA in this day and age? The way the NBA's played today, more than likely not. And that's why Zach Edey's projected around 50 in the draft to potentially not being drafted at all. And if that's where Zach Edey's going to be drafted, I think it would better suit Zach Edey to return to college basketball. You could look at it in the fact that he should go now because he just won National Player of the Year. And if you just won National Player of the Year, you're not going to be able to improve on that next season unless he can get better at some things. Maybe he'd be able to move up a little bit on the NBA draft boards next year. And if that's the case, if Zach Edey wants to be able to go pro now, then he probably should leave at this point in time because he's not going to be able to improve for the NBA draft in the next season, even if he does improve in some areas because he is an older player. Again, he still doesn't really fit the modern NBA unless he's able to potentially hit some mid-range shots, potentially be a little bit quicker overall, but slimming down could hurt his knees more because he won't have that durability factor. I think overall Zach Edey's kind of in an interesting predicament either way. He's going to make money with NIL if he stays at Purdue. Some people feel that Zach Edey should transfer to another program and be able to make more NIL at another school, but he's going to stay at Purdue because Matt Painter has the system that works for Zach Edey. I don't necessarily think that another coach would be able to have Zach Edey as a big focal point of their offense like Purdue does, so he fits at Purdue. Matt Painter uses him really well, so he's going to stay at Purdue. He should stay at Purdue even if he could make more NIL somewhere else. I think that this decision could really go either way for Zach Edey, and it's all going to depend on what he wants to do, but if he wants to go to the NBA and be able to make money now and be able to get drafted this year, then I think he should go pro because I don't necessarily think that he's going to be able to improve his draft stock next year by returning to Purdue. I don't think he'll be able to improve it at all, and if he does come back to Purdue, he might not even get drafted, which he would probably get drafted maybe toward the end of the second round this year. So looking at it that way, if Zach Edey wants to get drafted and at least potentially get a two-way contract or maybe a guaranteed contract, then he should go pro. But I do think that Zach Edey should just return to college because of the fact you're going to be able to potentially return to a Purdue team, that he's going to be the focal point of the offense yet again. And I do think that Zach Edey is a guy that really likes college. He really likes Purdue, and I don't think he wants to end the way Purdue ended last year, losing to a 16 seed to Fairleigh Dickinson. So Purdue would potentially be the best team in the Big Ten next season if Zach Edey returns. Will they have a lot of success in March Madness? Who knows with their style of play, but you never know. Maybe they could, maybe another round of Zach Edey and maybe improve guard play from Braden Smith and also Fletcher Loyer in year two. If they can get better, maybe they'll be able to go further in the NCAA tournament, still have a lot of success in the Big Ten. But it's all going to come down to what Zach Edey wants to do. I personally think he should return to college because I don't really think he's going to improve or hurt his draft stock either way. I think he'll have a great season for Purdue next season as long as he does not get hurt. And if he does have a great season for Purdue next year, he might be in the exact same situation next year and be able to potentially get drafted late in the second round. Even if he's not drafted, it's not even a guarantee he get drafted this year anyway. It's not really going to hurt or help his decision either way. I think he should return to Purdue, potentially be able to have more success at Purdue next season, and then maybe he'll have a chance to get drafted next season, and hopefully he'll be able to have a long career in the NBA if they do have him in the NBA and he's able to have success. But it's going to come down to what Zach Edey wants. There are going to be people that say that he should go pro now to be able to potentially get drafted, whereas they don't think he'll get drafted next year. And whatever Zach Edey decides is definitely up to him, but it's really going to hurt Purdue if he doesn't return to them next year. And I think it's definitely the potential that he could go pro and get it out of the way because he doesn't think he can improve his draft stock by coming back to Purdue. But I do think he should return to Purdue to potentially help maybe improve in some aspects of his game, maybe at quickness, maybe be able to make a mid-range shot every now and then, and potentially be able to improve his draft stock just a little bit, and to have a lot of success with the Purdue Boilermakers next season, and maybe make Matt Painter and Purdue really look good next year in the NCAA tournament if they can win some games. But it's really going to be interesting to see what Zach Edey does, whether he stays in the NBA draft or returns to Purdue. But for me personally, I do think he will return to Purdue. I hope he does return to Purdue, and if he does, maybe he'll be able to really help Purdue be great next season and potentially help improve his draft stock just a little bit for the next season's NBA draft. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below what you think about Zach Edey declaring for the draft and whether you think he should go ahead and declare for the draft or decide to return to Purdue, and how much you think it's going to help or hurt Purdue and Zach Edey on what decision he decides to make. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.